Exclamation everybody, and welcome to another channel update. My monthly channel updates are coming out relatively frequent, relatively on time anymore. This one's for December of 2015, the last month of this year. Hope it's been a very good year for everybody. It's been a pretty good year for the channel. It's been a pretty good year for me. This past month has been a bit dicey. But before we get to that, the game in the background is Tomb Raider. Playing a little bit of that just for sake of argument. And during these normal monthly updates, I just try to give you some idea of what's going on with the channel and some things that I'm looking at and possibly going to, some updates and things I might be looking at for the future. May or may not. It's really up in the air. A lot of times it depends on what's happening, what's getting released, and so on and so forth. This month in particular, this last month has been a bit rough outside of the channel. The channel itself has been relatively fine. I did have the one day where I didn't actually have any content at all on the channel, which is the first time in a long time. I feel like it's probably been maybe a year or so since there's been a break in the content. That was all due to my the hard drive crash that I had, the partial hard drive crash I had earlier in the month. Plus, I was putting together my new computer at the same time, all of which have been recovered. I've recovered most of what was on my original hard drive for my main computer, and I have my new computer running right now. And actually, the footage you're seeing is recorded from my new computer, my 980 GTX 980 liquid cooled system through and through. It's working quite nicely so far. Have to get all the settings correct. It's going to take me a while to retweak everything the way I want it to. But it's I've remembered most of the things, and I think I'm still at a good pace here. It's a little bit frustrating in some cases. I started to do some test recordings of The Witcher 3 on the new computer, and I can't get 1080p and still have 60 frames per second while recording. When I'm not recording, it works just fine. It's just when I go to record, I don't get a solid 50. I get like 45 or so, or I'm sorry, a solid 60, but I get like 45. So I am going to, I didn't want to sacrifice the visual quality, because the whole idea of having a new computer was to get some more visual quality in the games. And I also didn't want to do it in less than 60 FPS, because that also helps out a lot as far as the quality goes of the video, resulting video. So what I've done is to say I've got it tweaked to a point where it's not ultra settings on everything. That's fine, but most of the things are set to ultra, and it's going to be at 720p, just like the other episodes were. It also helps me out a little bit because I still have some footage, like a partial episode from, that I cut out of the other, didn't make it to the last episode that you saw. So, and since that was at 720p, it would be good to keep this at 720p for that reason too, since it's not, so it won't look all kind of stretchy and stuff when I go to render it. So that's the plan with that. I'm going to continue with 720p on that. Mostly because of the hardware and whatnot not being quite enough to do it at the resolution that I'd like. So that will be picking up soon. I have intend to record some more on that. I'm going to record that on my new computer as I do, and I'm getting in the process of splitting up my recordings between the computers so that I can while I'm rendering something, I can be recording something else. So my main series, like Soul Zero and The Last Federation and things like that, are going to continue on my old computer, since they're working just fine. And then I'll do like side quest videos and other things like The Witcher 3 on the new computer, so that while the one's rendering, the other one can be doing stuff. So I'm starting to get into that pattern. It's taken a little while. I'm just getting used to everything here. I've been recording like a banshee because I am on vacation from work until the new year. So I will be doing all kinds of recordings. The only thing is, this week is kind of rough because I got a good start on the week, the early week. But now we've got Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which I will be spending with family. Right now I'm recording this on Christmas Eve, so all the numbers I'll be giving you are as of the 24th. I don't know when the video is going to go up though, because I'm hoping I'll have enough time to record a side quest video for Friday for Christmas. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, because the one I have in mind is called Under Rail, and it's a long form RPG. So the recording I intend to do is going to be for probably like 2 hours or more, if not that, because, you know, just like I did with that one RPG, because RPGs are, Satellite Rain was the name of the other one I did on. Probably do something similar to what I did with the Satellite Rain side quest video, where I just kind of sit there at the beginning and just run through as much as I can. I don't want to, I want to stick to the beginning of the game, because I don't want to give off any spoilers for the game. So I figure the first couple hours shouldn't be that many spoilers. At the same time, I want to play long enough that it will show off what the game is like. So that's why those videos tend to be longer, so that I can, you know, just try to show off what's going on there. You know, because those games RPGs, long-form RPGs in particular, tend to take a while to get their footing, right? And even by that standard, like the first hour or two is probably still not very good as far as showing what the game has in store, but it should be fair enough assessment that you can kind of see what you're getting into if it's something that you want to look at. So I'm hoping to maybe get that recorded right after this. That would be kind of nice, but we'll see if I have enough time, and if I'm able to get it out for Christmas Day, in which case this video will probably go out on Saturday, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll just send this out at 6 p.m. on Christmas. Who knows? It doesn't really matter at this point. What matters is what's going on with the channel. So far, from the last update, I went from 1,182 vids to 1,221 videos on the channel, and that number is ticking up quite quickly. I have a lot of stuff that I'm going through. We stayed pretty much the same with subs. We had 322 subs last month. We're at 321 as of this recording. So we're staying about the same. It's about normal. It's going up and down one or two each day. It's just, you know, it goes up 2 and then it goes down 1, and then it goes up 2 and then it goes down 1. That's pretty standard fare when you're in a sort of holding pattern like this. And we went from 60,599 total channel views to 63,294 total views. So the views are still rolling in. It's still a very healthy channel. I like the way things are going. This month being as crappy as it has been for me personally, my commentary's probably been off a bit. I've probably been a little bit more distant than normal. I've been trying not to let it affect things, but you know, crappy is as crappy does, right? Sometimes you just can't help it. It looks like there might be, I mean, I did get some news yesterday. It was kind of eek, but everything's going fine so far. I think there might be some light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm getting back into the groove of things. That hard drive crash actually knocked me out of my routine. So I'm a beast of I'm a man of routine. So when my routine gets, you know, discombobulated, I sort of get frustrated and a little bit, you know, it takes me a while to get back into it again. So apologies on that. I'm just trying to get back into the groove, and I feel like I am. The last couple of days I've been recording so much that I feel like I'm finally getting back into the right pattern, the right mindset, all those things. As far as what's going on with the channel and what I'm looking at for the future and so on and so forth, been playing a lot of Paladins. You're probably sick of me talking about it, but it's I'm just loving that game. Like every day, I've been playing at least an hour of that game. And I love it. It's the first multiplayer game I've ever felt really good about, honestly. So it's you'll have to excuse me for being for espousing its benefits every chance I get, because I just feel really good about it. But I'm playing that, be doing more live streams of that. One of the nice things having two computers now does is I can, while one is rendering, I can go and be doing live streams. I was able to get back into Fallout 4. I did another 2.5 hours of that the other day, and then I kind of gave up for a little bit just because I was stuck in the one spot. But I'll be continuing with that, and at some point I will get back into Borderlands. I intend on doing that. Plus, at the same time, I want to keep playing Paladins, and I'll probably be doing that on live streams. I've been doing it off camera mostly right now, but I do want to continue to do live streams of that. I really enjoy that game. And once, you know, other games come out that I've been waiting for, like Overwatch and stuff, those will be on live streams as well. So, fear not for those things. Also, as I mentioned, The Witcher 3, I intend to start recording some more. I'm out of footage. I only have a little bit, like 12 minutes of footage left, which is like a partial episode there. So I am going to record some more of that on my vacation here, and hopefully get a bunch of hours done of that. The one nice thing with my new computer is I have much larger hard drives on it. I've got 4 terabyte hard drives, so that will allow me to keep more raw footage around for longer, so I can get more things recorded at once rather than having to stop at some point and render them out, so that I can recover, you know, 300 gigs of space or 400 gigs of space, whatever it's taking up. Like, I know Victor Varan at one point, you know, a 2-hour session of that was taking up about 759 gigs, and I only had a 2 terabyte drive, so it was, you know, a lot of the time I was spending just doing the editing right away, just so, and the rendering, just so that I can get some hard drive space back to do what I need to do some more recording. So that won't be as much of a problem this time around, thankfully. And I mentioned Underrail, I mentioned Borderlands. I mentioned last month, I think, that I've been looking at possibly doing Simple Rockets as another series, and I still have that as a plan, but it's kind of a broader plan than that. The plan I have is to find a sandbox game that I can do some justice to, and stick with it. The one thing I liked about Minecraft is that it allowed me to be sort of open-ended and a little bit creative. The downfall to it was a lot of what I did in my in my Cube Ramblings videos started to bleed into that, because I wanted to, I just wanted to have a chat, and I wanted to do some things here and there. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time off camera just coming up with crazy stuff, because I'm not a very good builder, that kind of thing, especially in Minecraft. And the other thing is the Minecraft building, there's so many people doing Minecraft stuff that there's kind of an expectation when you go onto somebody's channel that they're going to do it a certain way, and I just couldn't live up to that, and I felt like I wasn't doing Minecraft any justice. So that's probably never going to come back to the channel, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. I will play it, I might play it as a live stream here and there, but for the most part I'm going to just retire it, and if I do it on the side, I'll do it just for my own sake, and not for anything else. I actually haven't reinstalled it since the hard drive crash even. I've always had a on and off again relationship with Minecraft, and it's gotten to the point now where I feel like even with the new changes to the game, I feel like I've played enough of it. I feel like it's not enough to bring me back in any kind of real capacity. I don't particularly like the combat changes they made either, where you have to hold down the button and all that stuff. I feel like they're trying new things, but it's not the kind of thing that is really enough to make me come back to that game, unfortunately. I think what they really needed was, they need something like what Cube World has, which is, and it's a hell of a thing to say because Cube World is in alpha and it's been in alpha for ages and hasn't been updated for ages, and yet I come back to that more often. I come back to that every week, whereas Minecraft I barely touch. And the reason being is I like the exploration. I like finding things out in the world. I like finding castles and stuff to conquer, and enemies that are rare and stuff like that. And that exploration aspect is something that Minecraft has. It used to be that it was you'd go out and look for crazy places to build, and that was always, it was kind of weird though, because at that point they didn't have beds or anything like that, so you couldn't really travel that far without risking dying and then never finding your way back. You'd have to, when another travel became a thing, that was really the primary, hey, I died, I'm all the way back at spawn, now I gotta go all the way back to where I was. It was kind of a trade-off, right? It was a big trade-off. When they introduced beds, that helped out a lot, especially when you wanted to explore things. But they kind of just stopped. It no longer became about exploring, which is kind of a weird thing. Like, they've added a few things in the end, but the end is, in order to get to the end, you have to find the portal, and the portals are usually pretty close to spawn, so there's no real reason to leave your initial world spawn per se for anything other than to find biomes, which may or may not be rare depending on your seed. It's just, I don't know, it's lost a lot of its luster for me. I know it hasn't lost its luster for the youngins, and it probably won't for a while, but for me in particular, I see no reason to really belabor it and come back to it, honestly. So that said, I have been looking for another sandbox-like game that I can really get into, and I have a lot of options. There's, Edge of Space, which I haven't even touched, which is kind of a Terraria-like. There's Starbound, which I should get back into at some point. That has had a lot of changes since the last time I recorded an episode of that. There's the other one that the name escapes me at the moment, and I apologize, that I did a bunch of recordings on, and I stopped because I hit the end of the content that was in the early access, and that's been getting a lot of updates as well. That's also a Terraria-like thing. There's Interstellar Rift, which I really want that game to be something that I play on the channel, but it's there's nothing there yet. It's not, it's still so early. There's no real content in the game. There's no real meat on the bones. So I've been waiting patiently to just, they need some exploration aspects. They need something to just make it so that it's something that is a lot of fun to come into. Because I really like the concepts behind that, where you just build whatever you want to build. You've got access to all the blocks. You just build whatever space ship you want to build, and then it tells you at the end, like, here's all the resources you need to gather to make this happen, and then you go into your resource gathering mode, right? It's like, that's the one thing I've always hated about a lot of the other sandbox games, is that you set out to start building something, and you try to gather as much resources as you can, but it ends up, you end up not having enough. You're just short. And then you gotta go on the grind again, to go grind some more resources. And the mods for Minecraft help that out a little bit, where you could have a chunk loader and put all your machines in that chunk, and then just let the server run overnight. And while you're asleep, it's still gathering resources and all that stuff. And then when you come back, you've got usually more than enough resources to do what you wanted to do. I mean, it's a hell of a thing when you have to have mods that make the game fun for you, that take the grind out of the game. But that's why I like the idea that Interstellar Rift, the grind is still there if you want it, but it's still there, but it's at the end of it you're going to get what you wanted out of it. It's not going to be like, oh, it's not a constant I grind resources, then I start to build something, and then I realize I don't have enough resources, and I gotta grind some more, and then I try to go back to building it, but I've lost my creative spark, and so now I can't go back to it, and all that stuff, and it's just, you know, I end up doing something new, and then I run out of time to do that, and it's just, I like the concept behind it. I just want there to be more content before I can jump into that. Similarly with Space Engineers and Medieval Engineers, I have both of those games. Space Engineers just got planets, so you can actually land on planets and do some exploring, so they're really making some progress. The big problem I've had with both of those games is the interface. I really hate the interface on those games. I don't know why I hate it. I just do. I just do not like it. The building is a little bit clunky, or was anyway, and the interface I just didn't like at all. It was too clunky for me. So that's the only thing that's kept me from really getting into those games. I'm going to try to get back into Space Engineers now that I have some time off, and see if the spark will ignite, and maybe that will be something I look at. I don't know. It's kind of a long shot. It's a very long shot at this point. And then there's other games out there as well that are sort of the sandbox games that I haven't quite gotten into yet or not. But I'm looking around. I'd like to get some kind of building game. I've got Besiege. I got as part of the Humble Bundle. I've got what else? There's a few other ones. I think I have TerraTech as well, which I haven't done yet, and a few others that are kind of like that. I've got Homebrew, which is a model airplane building thing, but I couldn't quite figure out how to work it. Like, the controls were really clunky when I tried it, so I've been having some problems with that stuff, trying to figure out what I want to do. That's why I'm thinking of Simple Rockets, because I did a side quest video on that, and that seemed relatively easy to deal with. So I've been thinking of that. Also, they by the same people that made Simple Rockets, they made Simple Planes, which I was kind of looking at earlier, see if I wanted to buy that, because that was on sale on the Steam sale. But beyond all that, just doing what I can here, and looking at, I would like to get some kind of you know, side quest video in there, or not side quest, some kind of sandbox game that I'm playing, because right now the channel is mostly just RPGs and more RPGs and more RPGs. Oh, and real-time strategy, which is even more real-time strategy stuff that I like to do too. But I tried earlier to get No One Lives Forever to work, and for some reason, ever since I, reinstalled Windows and all that stuff from the hard drive, I can't get it working. It was working on my computer at one point in time, and now it's not, and I don't know why. Like, the launcher won't launch. I've got all the same files. I copied them all over from what I had, but and I have the registry all set up and everything else, but I don't, for some reason, it's not working. So I'm trying to figure that out, because I would like to get into that again, get like a first-person shooter back on the channel, that kind of thing. So those are what I have been looking at, continuing forward with Soul Zero, continuing forward with The Last Federation. I do again intend to get back to Chroma Squad. I just have to get that reinstalled again. And the nice thing with Steam now and everything is that everything's got cloud saves now, so I don't have to worry about save games too often, because everything just comes right back down once I install it. So that is awesome. That is one of those great things of having this new generation of games and all that stuff. So I think that will just about do it for this update. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.